How did you hear about PMC?
Yeah, I lived in Eddystone. Growing up, when I'd go to bed at night, I could see the dome lit up at night from my house. If you lived within a 10-mile radius of the school, you could become a non-resident cadet.
Now, earlier you said day hops.
Well, day hop, day students, non-resident cadets are all synonymous.
Was that a common term?
Not the day hops.
Okay.
That was a vulgarism.
Day hop was used mostly by the residents of the city of Chester.
What was your schedule?
There was 3 non-resident cadets from Eddystone, and luckily we all had cars. I'd drive one day, the next day, and blah, blah, blah. We would park on the other side of the armory where it is not, and park right there, right on Chestnut Street.
Right.
Walk through the boiler room and you're on campus. Now down over here we had barracks where we had our lockers. We could either come to school in uniform or change.
The relationship was good, let's put it that way. I never had any problems cohabitating, let's say, with the Cadet Corps. As a matter of fact, a lot of times, because of the restrictions on cadets, they would ask us to do things for them. So more or less, you helped each other, you know what I'm saying? You either were a boarding student or you weren't, you know, and a boarding student had restrictions. He couldn't drive, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, so they had to rely on us to take them places or do things with, and it worked out fine.
What kinds of things would they ask you to do?
Well, food, all right, and of course clothing. You know, if they were leaving campus, they had to be in their uniform. If they were coming back to campus, they had to be in their uniform. Okay. What they got into when they got off was in our car. So, hey Bob, how about a sweater or, you know, a sweatshirt, a pair of jeans or whatever. So we would have these things put in around for them. So if we did go off campus, they didn't want to go parading around in their uniform. So they could, I guess they could look, quote, normal, you know. We had this building, which we called the canteen, and both civilian and military students could frequent it. There were restrictions at times for the military people because obviously they had duties and that kind of thing they had to perform. But the kind of activities we had in there was like a luncheonette where there was a man and his staff who prepared sandwiches and the sodas and milk and, you know, those kinds of beverages. That was there for us when everything kind of like shut down for lunch, where the Corps went to their mess hall in Old Main or whatever for their meals. We would eat in the canteen, so either you could bring your lunch or whatever, you know, or you buy whatever it might be. And there were days when some of the military people would be there with us too, because upperclassmen, I believe, may have not had to report for whatever it was. There was a few extra rooms that were surrounding that eating area, so there was a pool table in there. There were card rooms. So there was always something to do in there. We had one guy who would wait till the crowd got real large in the canteen over there. And they used to prepare all the hoagies and sandwiches and stack them all up. And they'd have a code on it, like, yeah, this was a special, and this one was a ham or whatever, you know. And there'd be people grabbing, and you'd get in line and get pay for your sandwich. And all of a sudden, you'd see this hand come through, grab a hoagie, whoop, it disappear, right? And the crowd would clear out, and this guy would come back up and say, "Hey, I got the wrong hoagie here. I got the special. It's 50 cents. So I really wanted the regular, which was 40 cents." So the guy, the person behind the cash register would say, "Oh, okay, here, change it," and he'd give him a dime back. And the dime he'd take and go buy the soda. So he was almost getting like free lunches and sodas every day until the guy caught. I mean, it took months before they caught on to him. But that was always, you know, fun. And the arguments in the card room. You made a mistake. You threw the wrong card or something like that. And we had, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to embarrass him. We had one guy who was so vehement that this other guy made the mistake, that he called him a name. He called him Baby Huey. Well, with that, he got up out of his chair, started to chase the other guy, and the other guy goes running out the door. Okay? And that was like early in the morning. And he went over to the library to hide. He was hiding out in the library, and he said he stayed there good 6 hours. So smoking cigarettes. So he thought, well, I'll come out now. He probably forgot about it, right? Because, you know, we never really went home when you were after class. You never, I mean, everybody stayed. You know, you did things. And this guy came back over to the canteen, figuring the other guy had forgotten about the episode. He stepped in the door. This guy was waiting for him on the other side, grabbed him, pushed him up against the wall. You know, and this other guy, he was big. I mean, no doubt. That's why he called him Baby Huey. You know, he was big and just shook the daylights out of him. He said, "Don't you ever!" Boom! And he punched him. "Don't you ever call me Baby Huey again." Oh gosh, that was something. We had a guy who had drove his car. I mean, obviously we students drive our cars. And there were, you know, some of the military people were allowed to have their cars here. I guess that's upperclassmen. And this one guy had a vehicle called an Isetta. It was baby buggy size. It really was. And the door opened up from the front, which today, I mean, safety. I mean, what were we thinking about? I mean, you put people in those kinds of vehicles. Well, every once in a while, we pick the car up and park it against the wall. So he couldn't even get into it because the front door was right like that. And one of our fraternity brothers had his Fiat picked up over our iron fence and put on the front lawn of our fraternity house. And when he came out of class, I went, how the hell did that get in there? You know, everybody standing around, you know. So I mean, there was always those kinds of things to do. And of course, not only was it just day student type activities, but you know, the cadets were involved with us too, doing things like that.
Our fraternity house, quote unquote, was General Hyatt's carriage house. And downstairs was still the stables, and upstairs was the meeting room.
And other things.
And other
Party
things,
room.
yes.
Party room, and
Yes.
you weren't allowed to drink, you know. So we had a mastermind. I know who it is, but I shouldn't mention his name. Who suggested we drink vodka because it was colorless and odorless. So we had a sign when you walked up. Number one was, you know, 1 and 2, whether you wanted alcohol or not.
And I went up to the bar one time. General McMorland was standing with me. And to the bartender, I wanted 2 drinks. So I put up 2 fingers. And he said something about, how much alcohol do you want? And General just said, I didn't hear that, walked away.
No.
I said, no, I just want 2 drinks.
It was that was probably, you know, one of our releases as being a day cadet. It was, I don't remember if there was any residents. I don't think there was a resident cadet in our fraternity.
They had their own.
They had their own, and we were all day cadets, if I remember, and veterans.
Ben
Feinsod
was
there might
a resident kid. There were a couple. It was majority.
Very small percentage.
All the officers were, for the most part,
right.
They cadets.
But I think the interesting thing was that Kappa Sigma Kappa had probably all the rank of the day cadets were members there. So it was a fraternity. It was sort of where, as you come up through the system, it was a place where, you know, you could again do things together. And I think that the other advantage we had, we could come and go to our meetings and everything, whereas we weren't tied to the rules again that the residents were. But I believe that when when we look back, the cadet corps helped bond us, but that fraternity also was something that really brought the lasting friendships we have today.